This is a tutorial to make a simple motor. Before you proceed, make sure you have all the things needed for this project. First of all, you need to make a coil. Take the magnet and wrap the copper wire that you have around the magnet to make a coil. With the length of copper wire that you have, you should be able to make about 8 to 10 turns of the coil. Now remove coil from the magnet and wrap the loose ends around it. This is done so that the turns of the coil don't become loose. Coil is the most important part of the motor. When the current passes through the coil, it magnetizes it, and then it gets pushed by the magnet to turn and spin. The next step is to create the structure on which the coil is going to rest and spin. We do that by using paper clips. Now, paper clip typically has two loops, a bigger loop and a smaller loop. Bend the smaller loop so it becomes vertical, and the paper clip can rest on the bigger loop. Now, a small end on the smaller loop can be bent further to create a small hole. This is a hole through which one of the ends of the coil will pass, and this is the hole through which the coil will spin. In a similar manner, create a second stand using the second paper clip. Now place the paperclip stands on the wooden board and pass the coil ends through those holes in the paper clips. If everything goes well and you used identical paper clips, you should be able to spin the coil and see that it's loose and it works. Now you can use thumbtacks to secure the paper clips on the board. Keep the thumbtacks loose because we still need to remove the coil and strip some of the lamination off it. Since the coil is laminated, the current cannot flow into it because of the lamination. So we need to remove the coil and strip its lamination off using a blade or a paper cutter. You have to strip both ends of the coil and make sure that you only strip the underside of the coil and not the upper side. This is one of the crucial steps of this project. If you remove too much lamination, the motor will not work. With the coil prepared, you're ready to install it into the paper clips. Take the coil and pass its ends through the holes in the paper clips. Align the paper clips and the coil and place more thumbtacks to stabilize the whole structure. At the end, 2 thumbtacks per paper clip are more than sufficient to hold it together. Once you have stabilized the whole structure by putting more thumbtacks, the alignment could still be off. So do any last minute alignments by pulling or pushing the vertical legs of the paper clips. Make sure that they're in line with the coil. You can do a spin test to make sure that the coil can spin freely. You're almost done. The next step is to provide power to the motor. Take the battery holder and insert the batteries into it and connect the alligator connectors to the terminals of the battery holder. Typically you want to connect the red cable to the positive terminal and green cable to the negative terminal of the battery supply. Now take the motor and connect the alligator connectors to the paper clips. With this connection, the motor is almost ready. Take the magnet and place it under the coil. You may need to flick the coil lightly to get it going. And there you have it, a simple electric motor. Now after doing all this, if the motor still does not spin or it stalls, the reason for that could be that the coil is not directly above the magnet, so shift it a little bit to align it with the magnet. The second reason could be that either you have too much insulation stripped off the coil or too little. Also make sure that your batteries are not dead and are connected properly. You must be wondering, how does this motor work? The current through the coil causes a magnetic field around the coil. Another magnetic field is caused by the magnets. So due to the two magnetic fields, the coil experiences a force exerted on it. This force depends upon how much current is flowing and how much magnetic field exists. This force turns the coil and causes it to spin. The partially stripped coil acts as a commutator for the motor. Okay, that completes the basic electric motor. I hope you have enjoyed and learned from this project.